OE. OE means open elective. They introduced last year onwards. Last year I taught CE, mechanical, the rest of all branches except CSC. All there comes under one roof. Okay. Now in this semester, it's all CSC people, I think. Okay, this is of our syllabus. Our paper code is 198234. I will share you the syllabus in our Moodles. You can identify. Okay, life science for engineers. There is some practicals also we have. Some virtual. And the theory is total 5 units. The practicals virtual and field experiments. Of course, but the time is not at possible, I think, in the field experiments point of view. 1 or 2 labs it requires some field the relevant of the particular topic. We can monitor, we can check it. But this is the time is not at, I think. But the possibility may have 1 or before the December. Is it your exams, or for November is it your exams, final exams?
December, sir.
December? Okay. Okay, definitely it's possible. If you may visit the campus, then I will talk to one beverages industry, foods and beverages industry. There we can identify. This is or one of the FET also. Okay. Anyhow, this is of our laboratory experiments, virtual and fieldwork experiments. One is a microscope. No, it's 52. Okay. Microscope, you know well about the microscope. The micro means it's very small. How much of small? But nano is different. It's a micro. The micro is not at visible. Visible means visibility is not at takes place in our naked eye. Through our naked eye, we can't trace out, can't identify. Those are all comes under the magnifying glass, under the microscope, the beneath of the microscope. We can only identify that particular side and specimen. Okay. Here it is the microscopic organisms also which have microscopic cells is also microscopic. Okay. So that is the reason why the structure of microscope and how it is. But several types of microscopes based on their capacity, their magnification wise, it's have simple microscope, compound microscope, and electronic microscope. Okay, these are the main classification. You are all up to 10th class in good schools. Of course, in the +2, you have no biology. Is one of the subjects in natural science. You know about the microscope. Even minimum compound and simple microscopes in your laboratories, you may identify, I think. Okay, next is the Mendel's law. Mendeleeff's, the scientist's name is Mendeleeff's law. He generates the genes from generations to generations. This particular, the laws it's mentioned, their characteristics, their mutations, and everything. The first generation, second generation, in what way it can withstand their morphological structures is mentioned. We know about this thing is also, and at the same time their gene mapping and the interactions also we can identify. The next one is the nitrogen cycle, the species interactions, and the bacterial, the population growth. Yeah, nitrogen cycle. Before nitrogen cycle, you know about of our water cycle, carbon cycle. Yeah, the simplest cycle is water cycle. The natural droplets of the rain droplets, clouds, generation of the clouds. Wherever the location is favorability, there it is the form as in all the clouds is converts as in the liquid form of our natural rain, not an artificial rain. Artificial rain is just another chemical mechanism. Yeah, the natural rain. And at the same time it evaporates. Sea level evaporates. The sea water is also evaporates and the sea level is increases by this particular the temperature, icebergs, and all these are. That is another mechanism of the climatic conditions and their influences, the greenhouse gases and temperature and all these are relevant. In that way of the carbon cycle, the decaying substances or animals or trees or plants or whatever, these are all are converts in a form of carbon. The center of the carbon is it's in a converts so many. The best example is the fuels, carbon-based fuels, natural fuels. The first foremost one is we can good example of our coal is the best example of our, the carbon cycle. It generates as in a solid form of coal. Yeah. The similar fashion of the nitrogen fixation bacteria, nitrosomonas, and all these are different types of nitrogen the cycle, how it is generates. Especially the plants, the important elements is three, that is NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Based on this NPK ratio, the plant growth and artificial manure may possess then the growth is its developments for this particular the plant, the flowering and yielding and everything is based upon including the water. Water is also of course essential, but these three ratios based on to that the manure's cost and the level of usage also. Okay. Next is the species interactions, different species and their cloning or else their hybrid interactions is very essential role in the biological evaluation. Okay. Next is bacterial population growth. Bacterial population growth. Especially the bacteria. Bacteria is not all the bacteria are not harmful. We have a lot of bacteria. Human has a lot of bacteria, but all the bacteria is not harmful. Several types of classifications we have. So many bacteria is very much helpful. Yeah, especially this is the population growth where it is needful. In which industries, this bacterial the culture, bacterial developments. Yeah, foods and beverages. You know well about the fermentation. The word of fermentation. I think all of you heard about that one. The fermentation, bacteria. Through only the fermentation is begins. Yeah, I think you heard about the yeast. The yeast is in fermentation, the bacterial development. Bacterial culture is the development. This takes place through addition of yeast. Yeah, through barley, the beers, no, beverages industry, the barley is fermented, and so many other ingredients also they add it, culture it, the population, the growth of the bacteria is develops, then its fermentation is begins. The released hormone from the bacteria, it leads to fermentation. Yeah, in the human body, the big intestines contains a lot of bacteria. Because of to them, only our excretory system is its good and efficiency working. That particular the bacteria is its any effect. The bacteria is damages the intestines. So any animal, big intestines is a lot of bacteria. This bacteria is may damages by any side effects. Then that particular excretory system is damages. Yeah, this is one for most important thing you remember. The human body is also contains the bacteria. Yeah. So that is the reason why the bacterial, the growth and culture and the beverages and food industry so is also in what way it is used. We think about, we learn about this one in these labs. If any beverages, the factory we may visit, then definitely the bacteria population growth we can identify easily. But all these are the microscopic. Under the microscopic conditions only you can identify. Okay. The nitrogen cycle point of view, some of the particular species of the plants which have they fix the nitrogen as in a form of several forms. Why? Because nitrogen has a lot of oxidation states. Nitrogen have, you know well about MCET, a lot of oxidation state. Nitrogen has zero oxidation state to -1 to -5, +1 to +5 oxidation states it have. Particular multiple oxidation states containing the nitrogen is in several way of nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation of bacteria is also. So some of the special species of the plants you can identify. Okay, I will explain it later on. These are our labs. Someone is virtual, someone is field work. We can. Yeah. Next is our syllabus. 2 lectures. We have not. These are all our course objectives. The molecular basis of life, the molecule, the chemistry molecules, the homogeneous and heterogeneous of atoms which combines. Then it may forms as in a special characterized in the molecule it can generates. The molecule characteristics differs than the individual atoms. But it's in a same form, in the same molecule containing constant of atom, each differs. But this once it is the molecule it generates, then it is acts as indifferent. But in the same way, the biological point of the molecular basis of life, what it is, the molecule, it generates different types of cells, it combines big molecular, it can generate, and their life, how it is, in what way it grows, what it is religious. The religious means what it is. It is religious the hormones, religious the enzymes, and what is their individual functionality. Each and every molecular substance is in a different, is an individual role of the animal or the human, the growth in the creatures growth. Next is provide the basis of the classification of the living organisms. Yeah, the living organisms is classified in several ways. Living organisms and non-living organisms. The definite and the first important thing is its name. Reproduction. Living organisms is differs from the non-living organisms, non-living things, non-living things. The living things, it's reproduction. Non-living things, no reproduction. It can be recycled. Yeah, the next other things also, of course, motility wise and the biological activity we also have. Yeah, so that is the reason why this much of specifications, especially in the living organisms. So several types of classification based on their habit wise, their food wise, their morphological structures wise, different types of levels of classifications of living organisms we can identify. And the next is describe the transfer of genetic information. Yeah, the genes and gene mutations and loss of genes means syndrome. Syndromes takes place. The gene damages and how it is influences. These are all things. Genetic transformations. Yeah, of our what it is, our COVID virus. It's a lot of mutations, gene mutations. From body to body, it can changes. This one, RT-PCR. PCR is a polymer chain reaction. For this particular reverse transfication, reverse transfications of polymer chain reactions through only this particular virus is identified. Different stages and different temperatures through only we can match it. This is the harmful virus is develops or not. The positive, the virus is have positive, virus is not at match. That particular the real structure of that particular uh, gene component of the real virus. It may matches, it is positive. It may not matches, it's negative. Okay, through this one in this the pandemic time, there are a lot of PCR, RT-PCR tests. Everyone is just carry that particular kit. They collect the sample, the nostrils, and the mucus of the the throat, the nostril, and the mucus material. Both they collect it and they soak it and they test it and they run that PCR polymer chain thermosetting. That is one is the temperature variations. Lot of from stage to stage they arrange. This is total one of the program. Okay, in that way identification. Yeah, genetic informations can identify. The next is um, introduce the techniques caused for the modification of living organisms. Yeah, a lot of modifications in the living organisms. We know about GM foods, or you had nothing but of genetic modified foods, genetic modified crops, genetic modified crops. Why? Because the population growth is high population growth is very high. A lot of population exploitation takes place. Everywhere, every city is in big city centers is enhanced on because it's in a micro family system. Their day-to-day life needs, they want to good food. Good food means population is low, there is a need of the food material is very low. Population is now day to day is increases. So good food, but it seems to be from natural, the like so. Then it is develops the genetic modified foods within a little bit of time, little span of time. It develops and tasty and the cost effectiveness is very low. These are the things is each and every country the government is taken as foodstuffs, food ingredients it develops. Then only that particular country is in a safe. Even food granules and foodstuffs is not at they try to import. Then their economical burden. So that is the reason why everywhere the importance is given to especially in this cultivation. Foreign countries, hectares of the lands they cultivate the same species. If in case the disease may affect, then immediately the entire the same species